Hello, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to A Queen's Roundtable Show, Episode 8. I am your host, Jacqueline Kaba-Harrison, and I have a special guest with me here today, and I'm going to let her briefly introduce herself and tell us just a little bit about who you are and what we can expect from this phenomenal interview.
Wow. My name is Paula Alphonse. I'm from Canada. I lived most of my life in Canada. I work full time as a leadership development expert. So a lot of my work involved change management, things like conflict resolution and things like that. So part of that conversation is also ensuring that I will give you a few bits about me, but I'm not going to give you everything. You're going to have to stay in and listen.
I like that. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we are all shared out. We are. And I wanna let you guys, Paul, I'm gonna tag you on this right quick.
Thank you.
But I am going to do that today. Okay. Okay, there we go. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining. Please, your comments and questions are welcomed. We can definitely see them as you put them in, and we will address them as we go along. And for those of you that are listening, please, or if you catch the replay, please share the video out. If you feel that anyone else can benefit from anything that we've said here today, please share it out. Sharing is caring. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so Miss Paula.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about you. Like I know you currently reside in Canada. Like, so tell us, like, where were you born? Where'd you grow up? A little bit about your family.
Interesting. I am of Asian descent, never lived in Haiti. My parents immigrated to Switzerland, where my sister and I were born. And then they continuing on their journey, ended up in Zaire, which is now République Démocratique du Congo, and ended up living in Africa for a few years and came to Canada when I was about 8. So that's my journey. And I've been in Canada for, let's just say, a few more years.
Okay.
Not to tell my age, of course.
Wow, that's very interesting because I do notice that you have an accent.
Yes.
Okay.
That's because I speak French. I speak French and I speak Creole.
Okay. So I was going to ask that. All right. Wow. Awesome. Okay. And you have how many children, Paula?
I should not even call them children. They're young adults, 22 to 28. So now you're starting to add the numbers. So I'm at least 36. So I totally love the time I had with my kids. I still love they're going around. They're starting their journey. So as they're doing this, I see myself taking a different role and I'm loving it.
Okay. Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful. So that gives us a little insight into who you are. Now let's talk about what is your current business or businesses at this time.
I started this year a business which is about helping people get to the best version of themselves. It started for me from a perspective, you do the daily grind, get up, eat, work, go back, get up, sleep, get up, and blah, blah, blah. And then I realized at one point that there were so many more things I wanted to do. And I'm blessed to be in an environment where I love my work. My current full-time work is teaching managers and supervisors in leadership development, change management, conflict resolution, all kinds of those things. Okay. But as I'm doing this, I realized there were certain things that we were not really addressing in our training, and I felt there was value to it. So part of that got me to start looking into how can I help others. And I started with volunteering abroad. So I was offering my expertise in different organizations, both in not in Canada, in Haiti. And then I went to Cameroon actually last year. And we did a little more of leadership training for cadre and things like that. And again, as I was there, I realized there was that little piece, which is the individual leadership that was not really grasped. And sometimes people do things because that's all they've always seen done, but they might not realize what it is that I'm creating around me and whether it's actually giving me the result that I'm hoping for. So that being said, I'm like, there's something there. There's something I should look into it. And of course, my children are telling me, Ma, stop looking for stuff to do. And then at the same time, it's just like, but I see things and I can't, there's sometimes people do things. I honestly believe that no one gets up in the morning wanting to be a bad person. But sometimes the way I go about doing this, I might create those reactions that make me look like a bad person. So it's not realizing the impact of my behavior. So in a way, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what I try helping people with.
Wow. Ooh, that's a mouthful. I'm looking at your bio here, and it is just you have a lot of experience in a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
Now I think you're a pharmacist as well.
Yes.
So so do you do that full time now?
Okay. Let me explain.
Okay.
In my family, as we were growing up, there were two streams. You were either in education or you were in science. Given that I was good in science, then the decision was made that was the path that I was meant to follow. So did that, went to university, started working as a pharmacist, and realized after a few years, yeah, it's not stimulating me. I'm not getting that sense of this is the value I have to bring to the environment. So I started on a search to figure out, what are you meant to do, Paula? Who are you meant to be when you grow up? And as I was doing that, I stumbled over different leadership material, went back to school, studied a few things, adult education, blah, 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 blah. Forward a few more years, and here I am. So now I do a bit of coaching, bit of teaching, public speaking, a few things.
Okay. So. And you know what I take from that, and what I would like for you guys to take from that is that it comes a point where, and maybe everyone doesn't reach this point, but where you just kind of do what's expected of you.
Yeah.
Like I know for me,
mm-hmm.
it wasn't necessarily that there was a tradition in the family. It's not like I come from a family of lawyers or, nurses or doctors. Not that type of situation. But mine was that you're going to go to college.
Oh yeah. That was non-negotiable for us as well. We don't care what you're studying, but you're going to university.
You're going to somebody's university, right?
Yeah.
So it was always expected, because I'm the oldest of three. Mm-hmm. So it was always expected that I was going to go to school. I was going to go to college and, continue my education. And it wasn't really discussed as to what I should do. It wasn't an expectation as far as that. But the thing of it is, I think it's important to talk about this, because a lot of times and especially us as women, we kind of follow suit with, because it seems like everybody has a plan for us. You know what I mean? And like what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. And I think it's very courageous to just at some point say, how you say how your children get on you and say, Mom, stop looking, stop searching. But the thing is, like you said, you want to feel purposeful. You want to feel like you're doing, you want to feel, when you wake up every day and you get ready to go to your job or do what you do, you want to feel, or at least I know I want to feel like I'm making an impact in the way that feels comfortable to me. To me, those are the two things. I want to feel like I'm making an impact in a way that feels good to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I have to say, for me, it was really from the perspective that I believe that every single one of us is created for a specific purpose. If you looked at the way God created earth, the trees, the water, it is everything has a purpose, has an order. But when you're not doing what you're meant to do or to create, it creates a bit of misalignment, and then you're looking and you're looking. And I think that's what I was experimenting and I was trying to see. And I felt misunderstood, invisible. I felt like I was going through the motion, but I wasn't really being Paula.
Right.
And then at some point, as I was trying different things, I started noticing those things that made me feel more like Paula. And a lot of this was about helping people see things from a different perspective, stretching them out of their comfort zone, about helping them see what's important to them. And as you're doing this, it's just like, okay, if I can do that for others, can I do that for me? And that's where the story started.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. And you know, it just just being, like you said, being in alignment with what you feel purpose on, what you feel like you're meant, like you're here meant, what your purpose
Meant to be,
is on
yeah.
this earth. I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. I had guys, so some of you that know and have seen my videos before know that I have a 7-year-old that likes to you know, pop in. But what I was gonna say, being a social worker, you know, and having been in the realm of mental health, I think that that's where that depression, and anxiety comes in, and especially for women, and especially women of color. And I think a lot of that is because people just don't feel aligned, and they may not be. And I think a lot of times when people speak about depression, they think that means someone who's suicidal, or someone that can't get out of the bed, and it doesn't necessarily.
There's an in between.
Right, there's an in between.
Yeah,
you know, and
because
there's a thing of going through the motions.
Yeah.
You know.
And I know for me, in a way, from the outside, I had everything to be happy. But then at the same time, inside, you're feeling, it's not that. I feel like a fake. And I think we spend a lot of money teaching people how to do, but we're not investing as much in letting them figure out how to be. So I know I need to figure out, it's like I learned how to do a bunch of different things, but I just didn't know how to be me. And as I was looking and stumbling and fumbling, or whichever way you want to call it, it's just like, it's not working. It's like, I can smile, I can pretend, but I know I'm pretending. So at one point, your soul is pulling at you. I'm lucky in the sense that I didn't do anything stupid, or I didn't fall into one of those huge depression that lasts for years. But it's just one of those things where it's like, I knew something had to give. So I kept looking. So I don't know how many times I went back to school looking for what's the path.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes that, and just having the courage to do it, because sometimes people just give up. Maybe one person that's important to them, whether it's a parent, a spouse, a sibling, made a comment like, "Oh, you ain't found yourself yet." In anything, and they might take that and internalize that and just give up.
Yeah.
So I think that's courageous, just that you kept going until you found it.
And for me, it was the opposite, actually. They kept asking me, are you ever going to find what you're looking for? And I'm like, you know what? I might be lacking a little attention, but at the same time, it's the sense that I know that's not it. So I kept looking and kept looking. I knew I had to be of service to others. And I think that's what got me into pharmacy. So that thought was always in the forefront of my reflection. I can't just be earning money, going on trips, doing stuff here and there, and feeling good for a bit of moment. It had to be something that was a reinvestment in the communities, reinvestment in the world. It's like a bit of paying forward. So that's what I wanted.
Okay. Wow. So and I may be kind of jumping around a little bit, but one of the things I like to ask is, and I think we've touched on it already, but one of the things I like to ask is, what's your motivation, or what's your why? Because most times people go into business because they have a personal connection, you know.
For me, it's really about helping people find their own voice and sometimes challenge the molds that keep them away from their true purpose. It's really about letting people understand that there's way more options than maybe what you thought there was. And if we're looking to the new generation nowadays, you no longer have those labels like we had in my time when I was going to school, where you had to be a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor. Or nowadays, you can reinvent yourself in 20 different ways. There are people that have business. I'm shopping for you, because you don't like shopping. That didn't exist back then. So there's different things, but it's finding what nourishes your soul, what makes you be that best person you can be. And that's your potential. And that's what I want to help people find.
Okay. Wow. Whew. Yeah. And you said earlier that you've always known, you've known for a very long time, that it was your purpose to be of service to others.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I feel exactly the same way. Now, how over the past 20 years, I have refined it, changed, shifted a little, but that ultimate, the core of it has remained the same.
Yeah.
Being of service to others.
Yeah, you can do it from different perspective, but it's always about helping others. And for me, I call myself sometimes a relationship restorer, from the perspective that for the longest time in our family societies, we follow the script that has been given to us. And then at one point, you need to stop looking at outward and start looking inward and figure out who you are. Who do you want to be? What is important to me, not just to my husband, not just to my kids, my parents, my siblings, but what's important to me. And for that, it sometimes takes a lot more courage, because when you change, the people around you are not always in for it, because they're thinking, "What? I was fine with that other version of yourself, so I don't see what's your problem, but it ain't working for me." So that's the part where sometimes realize that people need support when they're making those changes. Because I could look happy doesn't mean I am happy. Right. But when I try harder to get to the happy, other people, I said, but now you're not making me happy. Right. So it's how do I balance my needs with respect to the needs of the people around me while I do what is important to me.
So you know what? So if you don't mind, talk a little bit about that. How do you, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of individuals that have experienced that have or still experience that you're changing, but the people around you, family members, lifetime friends are not changing. And they want to, a lot of people fear change. Most of us do. Or let me not say fear. Change may be uncomfortable.
Yes.
And they want you to go back to the old version of yourself that they were more comfortable with. How do you handle that? How have you handled that in the past?
You know what? At one point, you have to determine what's your worth and what's your value, and what are you ready to put into the work. And I think for me, it was realizing at one point, if I'm not the person I need to be, I'm miserable. The people around me eventually will be miserable, because when my time came where I had to make those big changes, I could see it. It's like the way I interacted with people were no longer the same. And once it's hard to go back. So now you have to help people understand what's happening on that side, because chances are you've been giving that wonderful mirror image of perfection. Life is good. Everything is great. And inside you're crying. So you have to be vulnerable enough for them to understand what's happening behind, and let them appreciate there's only so long I can prolong the pretense. And I need you to help me get to where I need to go. And sometimes it might mean I need you to get out of my way so that I can do what needs to be done. And, you know, if people are enjoying something, it's hard for them to let go. So you have to understand also what is happening to that other person and try and figure out what's that dance that we need to make together to get to that happier place for both that person and yourself. So sometimes it could mean, yeah, I set my boundaries. Sometimes it could mean that, you know what, if this doesn't work for you, you're welcome to, I don't know, try different things. Right. and see what happens. Because if you don't stand your ground for yourself, no one will for you. So it's about harnessing your own personal power and figuring out I'm important enough to do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have, hi, Melanie. Melanie has joined us. Thank you for joining. So, you know, I just think that this is extremely important. And that's part of the reason that I do the interview series, this 8 Queens Roundtable show, is because a lot of times people are suffering through things and we just don't open up about it. We just don't talk about it. Yeah. And it could be one person that, you know, might listen to this message, what you and I are talking about right now, and hear it. And that may make all the difference in the world. Maybe today they may say, you know what?
For one person, you never know. And that's why we have to share our stories. I know for the longest time, I was fake and everybody was happy with the fake. And then when I started, and it wasn't something where you come out one day and everything is taken care of. It was really from the perspective, as you're looking for yourself, you're stop doing certain things that just pleased others. And as the people are seeing you pulling away from certain things, they start wondering what's wrong. So you have to be willing to be honest with yourself, but also honest with others. You might have to establish some different level of boundaries. If you only called me because you wanted to complain about blah, 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 but never had time to listen to me talk, then I'll let you know, this no longer works for me. Either you want to pull up your pants and start listening to me too, or you know what, maybe it's not a good fit. And some people might end up having to leave your surrounding in order for you to make space for the people who need to be there and move you in that rightful place that you are meant to occupy.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's totally okay.
You have to make a decision. You've made the decision that I love myself. I'm important to be happy. I'm important enough to be happy and to go after what makes me happy and to redefine look at those relationships. Because I know I talk about that a lot, is that as you change, there's some people that are going to be okay with that change and going to love you anyway, support you, and continue to be in your inner circle as a positive force.
Influence.
And then there are other individuals that are just not going to go along.
Because they were getting their needs met. And if you're no longer meeting their needs, because sometimes coming out as who you need to be would mean that you're pulling the glasses on other people, where, this one-sided relationship is no longer working for me. So it's this part where there might be discomfort on that other side as well. So
and you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay.
You have to accept that people, maybe the people you were surrounding yourself with might not be the people who will help you travel where you need to go. And sometimes it's a lonely road. That taking some portion of my journey, it felt like there were tons of people, and then all of a sudden, whoop, the circle got very small. But then you have to appreciate. I know right now I'm living my happy life. Not everything is perfect. I'm not going to pretend, but there is not one day that I get up and I'm thinking, oh gosh, if only I could have a different life. It's just like, could there be more hours in this day for me to do what I really enjoy doing? So in that sense, if years ago I used to think about retirement where I wouldn't have to deal with XXXXX, now it's just retirement is more space for me to play and do those things I totally enjoy doing. And for me, it's all about relationships. It's all about building one another. It's not one of those things where everything we do every single day involves other people. So it's how do we build those relationships so we're helping one another get to a better state, to a better stage, to a better world. And that's what I want to be part of. I don't want to be part of the crew who's always complaining, the naysayers saying that nothing's going to happen. Life is good enough as is. Why are you looking for trouble all the time? Yeah, no, because the status quo is not me. Oftentimes, even when I was a child and I didn't realize that, they used to use that term that I wasn't crazy about, which was devil's advocate. What I have rephrased that to be is I'm a status quo disruptor. It's not because you see something and it works for you right now that it means that's the only thing, that's the only way and the only thing that needs to be done. So I tend to always be looking a little forward and see, okay, but there's this. Maybe that won't work for that or blah, blah. And how do we move forward and how do we get better? So for me, I'm a work in progress and I see people as a work in progress. And as I do that, even I have to appreciate that sometimes you might see some people and it feels like, they're a little rough. But we have to remember, it's like diamonds. Diamonds don't come out all shiny. They come in a rough stone and then a lot of work, fine, and then do whatever polishing you need to do. And eventually you get something that is really beautiful and that shows all kinds of lights. So that's why I think that's what we're meant to do with one another. Help people showcase the diamond within and help them become that best person they can be.
I like that. Help people to showcase that diamond within.
Yeah.
I really like that. Wow. But I didn't want to, I as you touch on different things, it's like I want to say something, but I'm trying to, I don't want to cut you off, but I'm still trying to hold on to what it was I wanted to say. So now I got to try to remember. So you were saying, so when we talk about change, and that may be very uncomfortable for other people around us, but we have to set boundaries and we have to be okay with them not being okay and them making the best decision for them, whether it's to continue to speak with you or not, right? So what I wanted to stress on is that because primarily I focus on entrepreneurs, African-American women entrepreneurs. So in addition to, finding yourself or doing what makes you feel good or what makes you, feel happy or purposeful, is when we talk about entrepreneurship, that can be a very, very lonely road. So a lot of my focus and talk is geared towards women doing what you have to do, and talking. And the thing is, like, what has made the biggest difference for me is learning that sometimes I have to go outside. I have to actually seek out other individuals. Like creating my own support network. Like,
you do.
I have actually found online communities that are so supportive. And it's all women. We're all mothers. We're all entrepreneurs. We're all going through the same types of feelings at one time or another. And I have found that to be so helpful. I'm saying all that to say, when you go through that process and relationships change. Drop off. How you said you had all these people around you, everybody running the race, and then one by one they just keep dropping. You'll be left with like a core of individuals that just got your back, and then And then in addition to that, ladies, I want to encourage you to go out there and create your own support system.
Oh, definitely,
You know,
definitely.
that's okay, that's necessary.
It's key because as you're making different moves through your journeys, there'll be people who can associate with you, and there'll be people who just cannot even understand what you're doing. My starting my business actually felt to some people like, but why would you need to do that? Why would you want to add more hours to your day? What's the value? How much money is it even going to bring? And for me, it wasn't about money. It's really about that sense of contributing to that bigger picture, getting that sense that I'm helping people get to that best result. So not everything can be managed or nickel and dimed in order to figure out what the value. And I have to also appreciate that as you're doing this, it's going to be a bit of a lonely road, and it's going to be baby steps. Oftentimes, our biggest challenge when we want to change or create something new, we're looking at people who've already landed, have already done all the work, and it's just like they're reaping the benefits, and you're seeing their harvest being so bountiful. But you can't be there when you're starting. So it's understanding I still want to have a vision of where I want to go, but I have to appreciate that I have to put in the work, the effort, and slowly build that foundation where I can say I'm truly creating this. And the volunteering abroad really helped me understand that, because I could see what I was bringing to the conversation, but I could also see how far some people were that I could not connect with. And it's the sense where, oh my God, how do I bring the conversation to their level so that they can see the value as well? So it's always that conversation back and forth. It's understanding that you have to take the person where they are in order to move them to that next stage. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's what I do. And I love it.
Well, that's so important. That is so important. I have a little visitor here.
Yeah, I guessed.
Okay. Yeah, you can stay. Okay, so so ladies, the takeaway from that is sometimes you have to build your own cheerleading section.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just have to be friends or, lifetime friends. It doesn't just have to be family. Sometimes family and or friends
like-minded,
but they don't know how.
Yeah.
That may be the case. I know I found that. So I have really had to create my own support system. And for me, even well before owning my own business, I lost my mom in 2006. And my mother was my biggest cheerleader. So, for me, since then, I have really had to, I lost my number one cheerleader,
Yeah. So I had to go find another fan club.
In the physical form, I lost my biggest cheerleader. So I've had to go outside of that, and that's okay. Someone else Melanie made a comment. Everything you are saying is where I am at now. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, good. Melanie, you know what? And I really hope that, that you find this helpful. Because the thing of it is, I don't want people to give up,
No.
because I know
it's not optional.
It's a rocky road, boy. Don't shake, buddy. It's a rocky road, but hang in there. Hang in there. It's all worth it. So you know what, Paula, let me ask you this. What would you say has been your biggest obstacle, either in owning your own business or just in life in general? And what techniques, or how did you handle it? Or how did you, I don't like to say overcome, but how did you not allow it to hinder you?
I don't know whether I see it as an obstacle or challenge or a wake-up call. For me, about 10 years ago, I had a burnout. And it really shook me to the core. I didn't see it coming. And I was doing too many things for too many people and not paying attention to me. And at one point, your body says, I'm done. So that was the time where I had to go back and start thinking, who am I? What do I want? What am I hoping to achieve? What is this world? What is this life meant to be about? So I had to take that time and figure out how to move forward. It was hard. It was hard because there were days I didn't even have the strength to get up and take a shower. But then I had to organize myself. I had to figure out how to get back to health. Mental health is key. You can't be happy in life if you don't have your mental health. Because if you cannot rely on you to be there for you, then what do you have? So what did I do? I put myself on a very strict regimen. And I guess being a pharmacist, I knew what I did not want. I had seen too many people on antidepressant for years on, and I had seen the side effects. And I'm like, I am not going that road. So I had to figure out something. I did take medication, but I took the lowest dose possible and I added other things. Things like regular exercise, things like better diet, things like motivational speak, things like journaling, things like taking care of me, and did that very intensely. And then eventually I got to the point where self-care is now my way of living. And that's part of, what took place in that moment is what led to the book that I wrote this year, or that I co-authored with a few other women this year, which was Get Out of Your Own Way. And I had to get out of my own way because I was trying to be everything to everyone, but I wasn't there for me. So as you're doing this, you're unpacking a few things and you're realizing, maybe I'm not all that. And maybe what people see is not really what should matter the most. It should be, how do I see myself? How do I love myself? How do I take care of myself and be of use to others, but not abused by others?
Right. So. I like that. So let's segue into that. What do you do? What do you do that you really enjoy? How do you, for some that may listen to this and may just really be so far removed, give us some examples of how you practice self-care.
I consider myself to be blessed with a very artistic side. So for me, when I need to recharge, a lot of what I do when I need to recharge includes solo activity. So there's gardening, there's sewing, there's painting, there's jewelry design. There's all kinds of things. I just have to create something anew and get that sense of achievement. If you look to the back of me, I have some paintings, and those were done a few years back in one of those moments where it's like, okay, I hate life. So you do your thing and it's just, oh, I like this, I don't like that, but that's okay because I'm just discovering who I am. So this is where you actually take the time to recognize those little things you do well, to appreciate those gifts and talents you have and say, hey, I can do this. Doesn't mean I want to make a living out of it, but I can do this. So
right. And that's
what I do.
Wow, I love that. I'm a very physical type person. Like I go to the gym. I like to dance. I like to roller skate. Like that. That's my thing. That's what has really helped to, keep me balanced. Because when I get involved in that activity, I just get lost in time.
Yeah.
And it just really feeds my soul. It just makes me feel good.
Yeah. For me, there's this thing I do daily. I have dogs, and I walk my dogs every morning for about half an hour to 45 minutes. And in that moment, as I'm walking the dog, and it's really usually very early in the morning, 5 or 5 a.m., and there's nobody out there. So you're in total communication with the universe. You're enjoying the moment. You're breathing in the air. So those are my things. Those are where I get this little, the energy I need to go in the classroom, to go into whatever activity and be able to give to others. So that's me. That's what I do.
A lot of times people keep trying to pour from an empty cup, and you can keep pouring from an empty cup, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be any good to yourself, and you're not going to be any good to others, which is so weird because a lot of people that keep pouring from that empty cup or don't take the time to replenish are constantly there for other people and helping other people, and that's great. But the thing of it is, if you don't replenish, you're not going to have anything to give anyway. So what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, for running yourself into the ground.
Definitely.
You know, and unfortunately, sometimes we get into a situation where we may have run ourselves so much into the ground that it might be something that's irreversible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that was my biggest scare when I had the burnout, because I could see myself spiraling down, and it's just like, I don't know how to get back up, and I don't want to go so far down that up is never optional. So I had to kick myself into movement, doing all kinds of things so that I could actually get out. And once you do, you never want to go back there. So that's why self-care to me is a way of living, because I recognize the signs very quickly when I need rest, and I do something about it. I just don't wait next week or be like, no, you do what you need to do so I can actually be there for others.
And sometimes like, oh, let me just do this and then I'll rest. Oh, let me just do that and then I'll rest.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's the thing about women. We're raised to take care of everybody else. So we're like the energy rabbit, but we don't have access to the batteries. So it's just like, doesn't make sense.
Right. I like that. We're like, right, that little energizer bunny that just keeps going. But we don't know.
No batteries. At one point, the batteries, you can't go very far without your batteries.
I mean, it's not funny, guys. That's just the way, you know, I find humor in a lot. And that's also another way that
you cope.
Right. That I cope is finding humor. But we're so serious when we say that. And it's different for everybody. Like I may not, like Paula paints, I go roller skating, you know. And if you don't know, because sometimes when we get married, we have young children.
You take care of others.
Right. Taking care of others. It could be maybe an elderly parent. We might be, I don't know, heavily involved in our church. Whatever the case is. But the thing of it is, even if you don't know, if you have lost sight of what you do that relaxes you, that you enjoy doing, it's okay. Just sit down and think about it. You know, think about something that maybe you used to do before you had your first child, let's just say. What was it? You know, so don't be ashamed, don't feel bad. I'm just saying I don't want you to feel bad to the point where it becomes a cycle. Now you start to feel even worse because you beat up on yourself because you don't know what you enjoy doing. You know, so you know that. Oh, and that's also part of self-care. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, be nice to self.
Right, and forgive yourself, because a lot of times we are, like you mentioned, get out of your own way. We are our own enemy.
Definitely.
We beat up on ourselves for everything. You know,
and a lot of things you have totally no control over, but I still decide to beat myself up. It's raining. It's my fault. I should have. Yeah. What could you do about that? Yeah.
Right. Yep. So you know what? So let's close out with this. Tell us about some of the different projects that you're working on now, or that you have that just recently come out, and then where everybody can find you if they want to connect with you.
Okay. As I mentioned, I recently co-authored a book titled Get Out of Your Own Way. And that's about overcoming adversity to live your full potential. And that book is available through my website, which is www.paulalphonse.com. So simple. I also, in the last few months or so, I started giving workshops on how to get to your happier life. And in the new year, 2019, I'm considering opening a program which is Get Out of Your Own Way program, but it's really about change management and getting to your result, getting to live through your change. Because the challenge oftentimes, as we've started the conversation, is I want to change, but the people around me are making life difficult. And then I feel bad about wanting to change, but then I'm feeling sad because I'm really not doing well and I need to do something. So all of that craziness. Mm-hmm. And it's that loop that we keep circling around. So this is a 5-week program where we're going to give people tools as well as a support group to help you live through your change, stick to it, and identify why is it so important for you. So those are, I would say, things that I'm working on. And I'm also considering, my brain is actually already working on the second book, which is about management. And it's understanding that managing people is not managing tasks. And oftentimes people are very good at getting the task done, but they're not paying attention to the people. And it is the people that actually get the task done.
So you need to come to my full-time job.
Yeah, and that's what we call building relationships. And I told you, I'm a relationship restorer. I'm about taking care of the people. And if you don't take care of the people, you're never going to get to your best results. So those are the things that I'm working towards. And I would say, so far, a good reception to both the book, Get Out of Your Own Way, as well as the workshop. But I know I still need to dig a little deeper, especially with respect to change management, because a lot of people, what's holding them back is that discomfort with the change. And because it's uncomfortable, you're getting the sense that I shouldn't be doing it. But you know what? You only learn when you're into that discomfort phase, because it's this part where I'm stretching. Discomfort means you're stretching. So in that context, how do we get to that best version of ourselves? I'll also mention I'm available on Facebook, Paula Alphonse as well, and same thing on LinkedIn. So chances are when we're going to post the link for this this replay, we'll also put in the links if anybody wants to get a hold of me. And I always love talking to people, because for me, whether you're in front of me or whether it's through social media, it's always about uplifting one another. I'm not about creating challenges. I'm about you getting to that better place for yourself.
Oh, I love that. So do me a favor.
Yes.
Give me, what was the web address you gave earlier? I'm going to put it in. It was for the book.
Okay. www.paula, Paula, Alphonse, ALPHONSE.com.
Okay. I got it.
So it's my name.com.
I got it. Okay. And all right. So that is where they can obtain the book.
Yes.
Okay.
You will see there's a place to shop, and you have the link to order through PayPal or whichever. Or if you want to call me, then that's also possible.
Okay.
So.
Good. Excellent. And then, you know what? Let's go back to that challenge. I really like that idea. So this is going to be, you said it's going to be 5 weeks.
A 5-week program.
5-week program. And it's called Getting Out of Your Own Way.
Yes.
Okay.
And there'll be different pieces that you're going to address as a group. And then there'll be conversation, little journaling work where people do their own thing aside as well.
Wow, that's wonderful. Now, is it going to be you or are you collaborating with other trainers too? And is it going to be in a Facebook group or?
I'm still debating which format I'm going to use. It could be through Facebook, but it's definitely me working on that. I haven't decided whether we would need additional people coming in because that's what I do. I already have the expertise, but then you never know if we speak to someone where or in my interaction with different people, there's someone where it feels like your message is so powerful, we need to bring that in, then yeah, why not? Okay. So that's pretty much who I am and what I do.
All right, good. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, ladies. Oh, oh, Kizzy joined us. Kizzy, I'm so sorry. I was so busy trying to put the crawler up there that I didn't
Acknowledge his presence.
acknowledge your comments. I'm so sorry. But Miss Kizzy Staten Gray joined us, and she said, "Get out of your own way."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "True, all of that craziness keeps us stuck."
Yeah.
And pay attention to the people over the task. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm that really stuck with me right now because, you know, and I'm pretty sure that all of us, you know, at some point or another that have worked, right,
Mm-hmm.
and been under some horrible management.
Yeah.
You know, when they're just strictly focusing on
The task.
the numbers, the task
Mm-hmm.
and the number, they have no idea, you know, about the people that they're actually supervising. And you're right. And the thing of it is, you have to make a connection and understand
Oh yeah.
that person because it's about getting that person to better understand themselves to
Mm-hmm.
be able to be a better employee
That's
and to
right.
be more productive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like that. But that piece is often missing.
And I because I was a manager for quite a few years, and because I've been in an organization where the infrastructure is so heavy that we forget about the people, I know this. I like to say that I was a good manager, but I'm sure there were some people who didn't like me. Most of the time, the people who didn't like me would be people who were either abusing others or trying to get an easy ride. So I'm not about that. But then at the same time, it's really understanding that if you don't help the person figure out who they are and how they can give their best return on investment, how is the organization going to get that? So it's your role as a manager to go harness that energy. We're in the environment where we're working with knowledge workers. Knowledge workers, it's in their head. So if you don't reach in and get them to pour out what it is that they want to share with you, then you're just getting the bare minimum.
Yep.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
And who wants to be at work for what? 8 hours a day and feel like I need to get out? No one. So we spend more time every single day with our co-workers than we actually spend with our loved ones when you count waking up time. So if I have to be there for that long, I want to ensure that it is a good experience. So that's my role as a manager, to create that.
Right. You're absolutely right. I'm trying to put your crawler back across here again. There it is. Okay. So ladies, thank you so much for joining us. And Miss Paula, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Pleasure's all mine.
Collaborate again at some point in the future. You are a wealth of information. It's so easy to talk to. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you very much. And I would say it's likewise. You made it very easy to be part of that process.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, so we have your website up there. Thank you again. And everyone that tuned in, please share the video out. Sharing is caring. And if you have any questions or comments, anything that you want to ask us during the I'm sorry, I'm hearing all this noise in the background. Anything that you want to ask us, questions or concerns, please leave it in the comments. We will get back with you. If you catch the replay, still leave your comments. Okay. And thanks again for joining us, and everyone enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon. Okay. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.